Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Cooking Nurse and my real name is Tumhim Sarita, and the reason I'm here today is because it's my birthday. Woo! This is 28 and I am so glad, I'm so excited to be here today. Not cooking, all glammed up as you can see, because I rarely look like this, like once a year I look like this. The rest of the years in Crocs and everything, cooking. But anyways, the reason of this video is I've noticed that we have started growing. And I've noticed that a lot of people have known me through the internet in a space of like 3 months or 4 months, and they don't know who really the Cooking Nurse is or who I am. And then also it's been on my heart, usually I have conversations with God and I tell him, if you do this for me, trust me, the world will know about it. I'm one of those people who celebrate even the smallest things. So me being at 28 and being who I am and doing something that I love and passionate about, you guys, being a chef keeps me awake almost all night. I'm searching, I'm looking out at other people who are doing what I want to do, and it just keeps me, awake. But I did not just wake up in the morning and be here. So I just wanted on this birthday of mine to put this a little bit part of my life out here and let you into my world, let you into who I am, and maybe relive the past. Like you guys always say, I'm always telling stories from the past. Relive the past a little bit more today because I am so grateful of how far the Lord has brought me. I am so grateful for everything that I have right now because I never had any of this, maybe even 3 years ago. So today I'm just going to be grateful, and in that gratefulness I'm going to be sharing what has been going on with me, how I have, managed to be here. Not managed on my own, but like what has made the 28 years. So, who is the Cooking Nurse? I already told you, my name is Tumhim Sarita. I am a Munyankole. I'm born and raised in Bushenyi district, and like all my life. So when I was 1 year and 8 months, my grandmom, who I think was an angel sent from heaven, asked my father if they could, give her a child to take care of. At 1 and 8 months, I have an almost 3 years old, but I cannot give him away. I cannot. And given the fact that I was the only daughter, I feel like it was God just saving me, because my family history is a whole lot of drama and everything, bad. So as you see me right now, I'm a survivor. I'm one person breaking generational curses. I'm one person single-handedly taking on my father's legacy, and okay, not his legacy, but building my own thing. And I am so proud of that from a very young age God looked out for me and handpicked me and put me in a place where the enemy could never trace me, could never even think about me. So I lived with my grandmom from the age of 1 year and 8 months until I was 12. And it's a whole lot of everything because I lived with her alone. She had only one child who had gotten married in Entebbe, and Entebbe and Bushenyi is really far, and those days we didn't even have money to now move to town and be close. So she was alone, she needed help, but in that help she was helping me and saving my life. I miss her so much right now. She's going to be making 16 years ever since she departed in October, and I just hope that every time she looks down she's like, that's my girl, I'm so proud of you, Rita. And I hope she feels she did her part, she played her part, and I'm so grateful. I hope she knows that I'm so grateful that she was able to save my life. I promised myself not to cry, but every time I think about it, I am like, from the very young age, God handpicked me and said, you are the anointed one. You're going to go there and you're going to do great things. And here I am. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. But every time I'm almost going off, it's like, no, come back here. Get back on track. So when I was 12 years, my grandmom passed on, and now it was time for me to face reality. I had to go back to my village. But as, the anointed ones be, I always knew that if someone tells me that they do not love me or they do not like me, I am not going to prove to them that I'm a good person by banging their face. So when I went back home, my mother is the third wife, and my step-parents, my step-brothers and sisters were always fighting us. Because there's a time my mother fell so sick that she almost passed on, And these guys shared land and gave us this small piece of land because they thought we were going to die and, you know, like vanish in the air and never like grow up to anything. And my mom would, you know, leave us and go back and get married somewhere since we are the young ones. So they never really liked us. I don't think they do now, but I've chosen to believe that it's not my part to have them to love us, and it's not my job to actually prove to them that we are good people, or my mother was a good person, or maybe the man actually lured her into getting married to her when she didn't know he was married, something like that. So in 2006, I had to get back home, and she was working as a secretary at a primary school, a church school. So she asked the headmaster, they were paying her 80,000 or 30,000, 80,000 a month, which never showed up, by the way. So she was like, now that you guys don't pay me, my child is here, she's been in a good school, not a good school, but Wumi, the primary school, was better than Kabande primary school. So she's like, she's from a Protestant school, and they were doing better because I used to work from home. It was like here and there, and everything was fine. I cannot have her walking this long distance from our home. It was about 4 to 5 kilometers to school every day. On that money that I'm working for, that you guys are not paying me, can you allow her to join the boarding section? So the headmaster was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I think third term of P6, I joined the school in boarding. We were like 13 students in class, and yeah, the school didn't have a center number. We sat for P7. There was no serious things like I see these days. People have, you know, PLE, newspapers, you know, they discuss and stuff like that. We didn't even have a library. Basically, it was survival mode. So in 2006, my mom, from the clinic that she was working with, she was going there for treatment. They decided they wanted a community of women who are going to impact other communities through drama and, you know, folk songs, acting around small plays. And she enrolled me because, I mean, we need all this money into the family because we don't have a support system. We don't even have enough land to plant all the crops or the food we want. So she enrolled me. And that is how I became a traditional dancer. So we would go for, you know, galas and stuff like that. On Easter Monday, we used to go to Chizinda. There's this professor, Tassis Kabwejele, he had put a cup for, you know, dances and stuff like that. And we won it. It's still in my house, I think. We still have it at home. We won it back to back, because I was there. And I was dancing with my mom, so she would be dancing from this line, I would be dancing from here, and every time we locked eyes, it was magic. And people just love the fact that a mother and the daughter, they are doing this thing. As usual, when someone young is doing something, we feel like, oh, this is so extraordinary, and we support them enormously. So that is how we were able to, you know, get recognized. So I finished P7 with 13, which was not a good one. My grandmom had promised to take me to Weranyanji or Maryhill if I'd done well in school, and I'd strive to do that. But now back here, this is struggle. We don't even have any discussions, we don't even have anything, and basically no one knows what revision is. I was 13 by then. Nothing made sense that now we are going to go and sit in the books of the notes we even missed writing, we didn't even understand. All we were scared of were the chiboko, you know, they would beat you up if you failed anything. All you had to do was, you know, keep in this anxious mode of survival. And so me getting 13 was a miracle. My mother's friend was starting a school back then. So he's like, we are looking for students for our school, and we need, you know, the best students to be able to stand out in the competition. So the schools I had asked for, my mom, of course, could not afford. She had joined GNLD. Network marketing is a hassle, and everything wasn't just working out. So she could not afford any of those schools. I don't know how much they paid, but it was a lot of money. If it was 600,000, that is money we could not even work or make in a year. So I just enrolled into school. His school, it was 1 year old by then. It was a high school. It no longer exists because shit happens. And they sold it, or they put their hotels or music or whatever, but the school, you know, made us. So this one time, we are performing somewhere, and someone sees me and they're like, you really are good. You're really good. what you're doing. There's this person called Prose Kankunda who runs Ngawa Culture Troupe, and she would use, young talents like you in the region for the functions. And now I had grown up hearing the song, Aibo Ngawa. So I was like, the person who sang the famous Ngawa song would love to work with me. Me, the outcast. I'm in. So I tell this guy, I'm willing, I'm willing to go and work. And it's like this guy was like recruiting us as if an agency. So we go, and they would give him money to give us, and he would give us like 3,000. We'd walk from Bushenyi up to my home. I don't know how much I can estimate the distance, but from Bushenyi to Ishaka, then add there 7 kilometers from Ishaka to my village. And he would give us like 3,000, and then the 3,000 I would have to take it home and tell mom, so this is what they gave us, they are going to add us more money, because he would promise us everything. So one time my mom was furious. She was like, there's no way I can be, letting this young girl go out there, perform on parties, only for food. So she asked for Prose Kankunda's number. She's like, yo, what's up? What is happening? Why is the child coming home all tired from performing with only 3,000? Almost, she has already even eaten the 500 or 1,000. And you guys are making money. I don't think I'm going to be able to send her again. And then Prose was like, no, I pay you guys. I pay the kids, I give them what, 10,000? By then it was a lot of money. So she's like, no, she never comes home with money. So I think Prose is like, okay, fine. I'm going to take full charge because she's really good and I can't just lose her like that. I'm going to take full charge and I'm no longer going to be going through the other guy. So that is how I was able to survive through high school. When I joined high school, this new school was a lot of work and we were poor. By the way, yeah, we were poor, but all these steps, it's been God coming through at some point. At some point, he saw that I was not going to be able to go to high school, and he was like, this guy is going to start a school, and he's going to enroll you. After you're done schooling, the school can actually close, and it did. So at some point, I believe that God just come through for me at all points of life, because every time I sit down and I'm almost breaking, I look back and put all the notes together, and I'm like, it was you here. It was you, so everything is possible. So we studied, and I had a free pass. So every Saturday, Prose would, send for me. I would take a border to Bushenyi, and then we'd go perform everywhere we wanted to perform. And then I would come home with the 20,000. Then I would buy myself clothes in the market. I would buy, the chips that I wanted to eat, because my mom never gave me anything apart from books, soap, and maybe pads when I started menstruating around 15, and that was all, because she didn't have. And I feel like my mom felt like if she keeps on, stressing and having to provide for us, if we do not understand the situation, it was going to break her. She had 3 children, 1 sick one, and the 2 of us who seemed to actually want more than we could get because of the influence. So she just let me, do this thing and pay for myself everything of the other basics, a girl needs. You want a crop top and leggings, my mom would never buy you that, so you just have to use some of your money. So I finished senior 4, and I wanted to go for fashion designing. Okay, I've always wanted to be in the, creative, hands-on business. So my mom is like, no, I work at this clinic. Meanwhile, she has left the school, and they were not paying her now the fact that I was already done with school. She just left and started working at a clinic. So she's like, now that I'm working here, anytime from now I can fall sick. I cannot afford school, hospital bills and everything. But if I have a nurse in the house, I cannot die, just like a dog. So you're going to go to a nursing school and get that certificate. And who knows? Your uncle is doing great in medicine. Your aunt is doing amazing as, senior nursing officer, and everything is just good. I've seen people succeed in this career. So why not you? Now I enroll. But for someone like me, one of the toughest times that I look back right now and I feel like I was tortured was my nursing school times. Because everyone told me I was in the wrong place. So even if I had done something or not, they would still put it on me. Me, as you see me right now, I don't think I've ever woken up in the morning and like, I'm going out, I'm going to the club to dance. In those days, never. I've never said that I'm going to drink alcohol. Never. I'm not a boys person that I would be hanging around boys for things that are not even serious. Never. But every time I would wake up in the morning, I would find stories of so and so is, Rita is, moving around with this and this, and they are doing this. She's a prostitute. There's even a time our principal, I would say may her soul rest in peace, but I'm mad. She said she one time called us a prostitute with my friends because we were putting on black on a Monday. There was a movement saying Black Mondays over to fight against corruption. So that Monday, we didn't have uniform. We just said, okay, we're just going to put on black, basic black dresses. This woman was so annoyed that I think a small group of girls who thinks they are so pretty or so something were thinking beyond the other people who are dressing up how they want. So she calls us in her office. She's like, you need to go and change right now. Are you prostitutes right now? Like she shouted a lot of things and, not actually shouting, but telling us that we are prostitutes. And I lost it. I told her, Mom, one thing like this you can do is call me everything else, but not a prostitute. Not, I'm going to go and change, but that one right there has pissed me the F off. And I think that was a time that she realized she had to deal with me manually. Now, personally, that towards the end of the course, they expelled me. So what happened, I had gone out to buy chips. I had gone to perform to this place on Sabbath, and I made money. Because of course, these guys cannot understand what you're going through as a person. You have these basic needs you need, your mom doesn't even earn enough, and you're in a community of people who are, doing well, but you have this talent, and it's something that you can do. So I would get out on Sabbath when everyone else is in church, go perform, get my 20,000 or 25, come and be able to live through school life in nursing school. So when I had just worked, I asked my friend, can we go and buy chips? Everyone else was doing that. It was a boarding school that was so strict, but everyone else was doing it. I just do not know why it always had to be me at some point. And this is not a blame game because it was tough. If you ask any of my friends, I do not think any of them even thought I would pass any of the questions or the exams, because there were a lot of stories around. Nursing assistants, talking things that you've never even heard, people you've never talked to, sisters in school treating you like you're some piece of trash, and it always hit me so hard. There's one who even had me cutting my hair because it's brown. Naturally, my hair is brown. She had me cutting the hair because she thinks I'm trying to lure boys and I'm somehow a prostitute. I do not know why that community always associated different to prostitution. But anyways, that is in the past now, and here we are. So this time, I go out to buy chips, and this sister, Sylvia, meets us in town, and we go back to school. Somehow, she doesn't manage to meet us one-on-one. So when she comes back, she tells Askari to, lock the door, and she runs directly to report us. Me in particular. So when I'm called in office, she says, I met you when you were with boys, and you were putting on trousers, and you were, hanging out as if no more, and, you're moving around with boys. And I'm like, why are you lying? Why are you lying? A whole grown woman like you have studied, you have all these books and papers. Why are you lying? And I think she was mad that I was trying to gaslight her or something, or like trying to talk back at her in front of everyone else that she had reported me to and told all these stories. And I was like, what is the best thing that can happen when you lie about someone as useless as I am? I do not know what happened. They gathered together, they put up whatever rules they put up, and when I came, I was not even given chance to explain what had actually happened. So they expelled me. My friend was given a punishment to just sweep the road. But every time I asked, why me? Why is it happening like this? But I remember when I was being expelled, the principal pushed me to the gate, and I was telling her, no, I'm not going to use the school bus. I'm going to use a boarder and go back to my home and embarrass my mom. The same thing you want to happen right now. And I'm going to go and embarrass her. I will. May her soul rest in peace. But she was telling me with my attitude, I would never do anything because I am big-headed, I don't listen, and All I was trying to do was explain what is happening. I have 4 months to finish the course. My mom has been paying for my school fees using a loan. There's no way I can finish 2 years here and then you expel me because I went out to buy chips. And have my friend sweeping the road, and for her she retains her course. So I was mad. Let me come. Anyways, now I'm good. So I was telling you how bad I felt betrayed, how it was starting to kick in, that everything that my village people, my step-parents, my stepmom had said, her son had said, that I was not going to mount up to anything, my mom was in debt. I just felt like I have failed her, but something inside kept on telling me, this is not the end of the world. But first of all, you have a lot of potential, you can do a lot of things, so you can do it. I just didn't know where to start from. Because getting into that nursing school alone was drama on its own. I had applied when my papers got lost, and I don't know if I've told you about that one, about my papers, but my papers got lost when I brought them home. The PLE for P7 and for Senior 4. So I was supposed to take and apply for a nursing school place at the school for the May intake. We went to perform after I'd, put them in the house. And by the time we came back, the pass slips were not there. And up to now, they've never surfaced. Some pastors somehow told me things that I don't know if they make sense or something. But that is in the past now. It was a test so that I could get a testimony. And later on things worked out. So I go to UNEP. First of all, when my papers got lost, one of our people, someone in my family, all of a sudden became friendly and started telling us, because of course she knew we couldn't afford, and telling us, UNEP is really tough, and she was a teacher. She could help us get, a connection in UNEP, and it would cost us about 500 something or so. She knew we didn't have the money, first of all, and anyways, as God would always come through for me, my mom had met this person in a workshop who happened to live in Kampala, because I had no other relatives who lived in the city, and there's no I was going to come, a young girl, 18, and try finding UNEP on my own. So she calls this person, Mr. Mchunguzi, and tells him, oh, by the way, my daughter's papers were, kind of misplaced or taken, but would love help if you know anyone who works in UNEP, or find out about how much it would cost. And he was like, no, UNEP is here. She should just come and, try it out. It's something simple. It's not even so hard. Just go with a police letter and have your papers processed, something that shows that you actually, you sat for papers. So that was a relief. Oh, someone was actually talking about it as if it was easy, which actually was true. It was easy. So he got me a person in Bismarck, and I came the first time in Kampala alone. I reached here and it felt so good, being away, having a lot of playful people who could speak fluent English, small kids, because I wasn't able to do that. And I remember one of the times in my P6, there's a time they brought students in my school who could speak and pray in English. And one of the things I would pray silently, I was like, God, if only I can pray to you, if only I can, lead in prayer in English, that would be enough. Of course, now I speak English. So anyways, I came to UNEP, paid only 50,000, got my paper that showed that I gave me the results, and also showed that I had sat for the exams, and that I would wait for my certificate. So by the time I took them to the nursing school to look for a vacation, they told me these papers were not actually valid. They did not see anything, but of course I tried to prove that they were legit. And somehow, I did not get a chance, or I did not get placement. So I go back home. This whole year is almost dead. And then on the 12th of November 2012, my mom was in one of the women groups of Boxy. She gets a random call. This woman asks, hey, am I talking to Tumhim Serita or the Guardian? And mom says, yeah. So we were asking if she's still interested in doing a nursing course, because the council has decided that the comprehensive nurses they are producing are no longer, well equipped in the 2.5 years, and so they would love to start, training nurses separately and midwives separately. You guys, if you have not seen where God has come in right now, then you are blind. But God legit put away from me to be able to go into that nursing school towards the end of the year, when they are not recruiting anyone. We were only 14 people. And I think the people we had applied with had already moved on with their lives, and some of them didn't even want anything to do with nursing anymore, or they had already gotten other schools. But somehow, I was still at home. So I was like, yeah, I'm still interested, because I am tired of being here. This place sucks all my energy out of me, and I am tired of words, everything going around. Hey, she thought she would manage the children. She has failed. Hey, everything. And I would see the heart in my mom's eyes. So I wanted something to, keep me busy. But the condition was, we pay 800,000, non-refundable, and we were supposed to report in 3 days. Yeah, in 3 days. It was a Thursday. We were supposed to report on Monday. So I told my mom, what are we going to do? We don't even have a relative who can give us 800,000 right now. We can't sell land. We don't have any livestock to sell. I don't know even this kabox of yours that you guys are only 10 and collect 5,000 every Wednesday. That means you're only collecting 200,000 a month. It's not even enough money to, borrow from them. And my mom was like, maybe God is going to make a way. So I tell her, you call some of the people. And then she's like, God has always come through for me. Let me try this one last time. Mr. Mshabe came through for me as an angel. He was friends with my dad before he passed. So for some reason, he has been like an elder in our home, trying to, put us back together. And however much it hasn't worked yet, but he has always been like a figure in our home. So my mom calls this guy and tells him, see, my only child who is trying to do something has been admitted randomly in a nursing school, like she had always wanted to, but we are requested to report with 800,000 and we don't even have anything. So now understanding, I feel like Mr. Mshale said, you know what, I have this money, let me give it to you and see. So he's like, I have 400,000, it should be good for you to start. Try and add on or go and beg and see if they can allow her. So of course, we have nowhere else to try, and 400 is already good enough. It's halfway the money. So I carry the money, I go to the school, I plead, and they allow me to get in, and just like that, I started schooling. My mom is also like Muyiribi. So that is where she picked up from. So that is the story of how I get into nursing school. And now it ending into an expulsion because a sister randomly doesn't like me for some reason. I hate to say that someone doesn't like me, because why don't you like me? Why? If you don't like me, don't hurt me. The same thing. If I don't like you, I don't hurt you. But I felt like this woman had something that was working behind just to test me, maybe to get a testimony. So I was expelled and I'm home, depressed. I want to achieve other dreams. I don't have any beginning. My mom is just stuck. Now everyone is going to get around and start talking about stuff like that. And then again, God comes around for me. We get a new admin at the hospital. So this new admin, of course, when you expel someone, stories start walking around like, they crawl. That here had a lot of yappa yappa. So my mom somehow reaches this guy's office and, starts pleading. And this guy's like, no, they shouldn't have done that. Let's call a meeting and resolve the issue and let the child be able to finish. Because first of all, I was like academically good. I never got a retake apart from the first aid one in PTS. I never got a retake. I was one of the top 2 students, if not the first one, and the other people would be following. And I did not see, that person did not see the reason why I was expelled just because I was found out, buying chips, and my friend was in school finishing her course. So they called back a meeting and he chaired it, and they said that I was going to get to receive a beating in front of the school, which I did. I agreed with my mom, put on all my knickers, and I think all the bras I had. And she bet me up actually in front of students. I think either that was meant to embarrass me or, kill my light or dim my esteem. I don't know what it was meant to do, but he never did anything to me. And I was given a punishment to actually start praying for patients in the prisons and the ward, which I really didn't find like so bad as a punishment. But while working there, that is when I realized I was going to be a nurse, but I wanted to be a different nurse. I was assigned a patient who had been an inmate, and he had sarcoma. It is the skin cancer, and had no attendant. The nurses themselves could not attend to him. He was in a bad state. His testicles were this big, and he could not move out of bed. So they were like, now this one who is on punishment needs to be the one to take care of Duncan. May his soul rest in peace. So, of course, I start soliciting, getting money to buy him food, you know, doing these small runs in dormitories, asking people to collect money. And one day I go to the admin and ask, can someone operate on Duncan? And you know, he has no money, he has no one taking care of them. And when we talked to the doctor that time, he said we have to wait up to Monday. It was a Friday, then Sabbath and all that, we have to wait up to Monday. On Sunday, when I was coming to pray for Duncan again and clean him up, Duncan had passed. In fact, I met them taking him to the morgue. That thing broke me like nothing ever. I had cared for Duncan, I had washed him, I had cleaned Duncan, I had, you know, collected food. This time he asked me for kalo and fish, and I asked the admin, man, this guy I'm caring for wants fish, but I don't even have money on me. And I moved around with a paper, he gave me 6,000. I went and bought this food for Duncan. And to see Duncan die like that with no help, I knew, for sure I knew. Looking back right now, I knew I was not going to be the nurse on the ward. The one who's going to let people die because they cannot afford a service. The one who's going to look at people and, you know, be like, yo, no, I cannot touch that one. The one who's going to do that. So I wanted to be the nurse who has money. So if I walk into a situation and can use this money to talk, can be able to help someone leave the hospital that they have lived in for a long time, I would do that. So that was also my turning point, and I thank God I was able to serve like that in prisons, a lot of stories and everything that shaped me. So there I was, allowed back in school after a beating, and I was able to finish my course in May 2012. So after school, my aunt connects me to one of his OBs who had a clinic and a pharmacy in Chiboga. And yeah, just so I cannot go home and sit because the situation at home was toxic. But this guy wanted a wife to say, someone who he could, you know, use as a nurse, and also his wife. But then I was just 20. There's no you're going to tell me stories of, now you see we are here, and no, it was not going to happen. So he starts, you know, his advances, and I refuse. And now he retaliates into telling my mother and aunt, especially my aunt, a lot of things, uncoordinated stories. I think I'm very funny. And that Chiboga place had a lot of Bahima who used to come from the deep village and come and bring milk here. So we would find ourselves laughing a lot at the pharmacy whenever I didn't have clients. So they would just come in as clients, buy milk and stuff like that, bongo. So whenever this doctor came around and found all these happy boys around, he would feel like, oh, wow, I'm sleeping with all of them. So that is the story we would go and tell my aunt. And then my mom would call saying, Rita, you have gone that far, embarrass me. It's not going to be possible. So I was like, this guy is becoming too much now. By the way, you can call me anything you want. But a whore, no, you're not going to call me that, and I accept. I will slap you actually. So I think it was mid-month, I had spent a month and a half. He had paid me my money, of course, for the previous month. So this month, it was too much. He went and talked things, and when my aunt called me disappointed, I was like, by the way, this place, you're even disappointed in me, like it's not even something I want to do now. So I picked money from the drawer, 125,000, because I was working for 250, and told him I'm leaving. I paid my transport to Kampala, slept at my boyfriend's place, and the next morning, I was headed to Mbarara because his place also was not his place. He was staying with a friend, and there's no way I could have stayed there. So I got to Mbarara, and there's an old friend, Carol, was wife to one of the friends that was in the troupe while I was still a dancer. So I talked to Carol, and I'm like, man, I'm stuck. I just lost my job in Chiboga, and I need somewhere to start. I feel like I can, start a fresh life here. So I don't know if you can help me. Carol was like, cool, The house is there. You guys go and sleep. You're already many. Kakuru is around. There's another girl who's staying with me. So you go and join them. No problem. Carol's house was like a two-seater sofa. Like you could step from here up to there and the house is done. We were renting 40,000 in Kajogo in Mbarara. It was a very, very old slum, old house. Like soil. Okay, a poor village setting, but in the middle of the city. So I go in. I have a cousin who lived in Mbarara and had a workshop. He's a carpenter, but I didn't want to disturb him. These are people who have grown up on a distance. He's way older than me. He has a family. So I didn't want to go to them and then tell them, yeah, you see now me, I'm very now stuck, help me. So I didn't want to, go into that. So I wanted to do something on my own and survive on my own. So I started living with Carol, and life was not so easy, of course. Kakuru was Dobby, and he was just making money to just survive, So one day, my cousin's wife meets me, and she asks me, where do I live? I tell her. And she's like, how come you've never visited us? You've never done anything for us? I need to see where you stay. So she comes around, and when she saw where I was staying, she went back and told the husband, and the husband was like, no, there's no way that I can be staying there, and we are here. Let her come over. He came and was able to persuade me, and that is how I left Carol's place, I think after about 3 weeks of that toil. But Kakuru was like one person who held us together. So Kakuru used to make about 5,500 a day, and I just think he had a big heart. Yeah, God bless him wherever he is right now. But Kakuru had a big heart, and I had 70,000 on me that I had decided I'm not going to touch this one. We are going to starve you guys. We will die in here. We will fend for ourselves, but I'm going to touch this 70,000 because if I get a job in Kampala, though I'm placing my papers everywhere, how will I be able to reach there? My mom has no money to even give me for transport. So Kakuru would come and take us to a place in Mbarara near Mahembe Gente, I think near where the buses park, and they used to sell there very, very, I don't know. Right now that I cook, I would not put myself to eat on the streets like that ever again. But we'd go there and buy katogo for potatoes and chai mukalu, and then it used to be 1.5. So they would give us around 3. So later on we became regulars, and they would add us like a 4th one, and then we would have supper and go, the 3 of us, and go back home. And Kakuru used to sleep in the coach. He was a long, small guy, like tall, small guy. So he would fold himself in this one coach, and then we'd put the cushion down, me and the other girl, and we'd sleep there. Our legs never straightened. But anyways, that space, grew us. So one time I'm walking in town, and my cousin's wife meets me, and she's like, hey, you live in Mbarara. Why you've never visited us? What's wrong? What happened? Didas really likes you guys. How come you never, come around? So I tell her, and I live around, but the situation is not so good, so I don't want to just come and these kids meet me and I don't even have what to give them. So she's like, show me where you're staying. I first hesitate, but she insists. So I take her there, and when she went back home, she told my brother, your sister is living in a bad condition right now. She's okay with it because she's looking for a job and she doesn't want to go back to the village, but it's a bad situation right there. If you know Mkajogo, you know that place the house used to be 40,000, and in 2016, 40,000. So you can imagine. But yeah, we survived in there, and one day when that woman came, my brother was like, no, come home and start staying around with us and the kids and, help around. By then the family was falling apart. I wish it never did, but it was falling apart, and the wife was no longer coming around, so I had to start working at this hardware in town. He had a small hardware. He's a carpenter, so I would go there, sell for him stuff. We used to sell porridge, we would sell water and sodas, like those soft drinks and buns for these guys who are doing the carpentry work. So I was working at the hardware, and then somehow someone noticed that I was around regularly, and they said, why don't you start dancing again? So I start dancing again, get these gigs on weekends and go and work. And this one time I meet some girl who tells me about a troupe in Kampala that pays them 40,000 per show. And they work like Friday, Saturday, Sunday consecutively. So that is 120 a weekend. I was like, I'm in. Connect me. She was lying. But anyways, she connects me. I somehow managed to get the number, and I had 2 SIM cards. So when I was at the hardware the next day, it was a Monday, I gather myself, buy airtime for the other line that I never used, and I call this guy. I'm like, hey, how are you? I had a friend called Nicole. So I tell him, my name is Nicole. I have this friend of mine who's really at dancing, really good at dancing, and she would use an opportunity as a dancer in a troupe in Kampala. He's like, how good is she? Because right now we are looking for a dancer from the West who is good at, echente, like the encoded dance. And that is the star. This is the person you have been looking for. It's perfect timing. So this guy says, okay, this is my number. Give it to her and let her call me and we arrange and talk. I was like, okay, thank you so much. Let me send the number. Get the number from the other phone, put it on this line and call again. And I'm like, hi, my name is Rita. Nicole just gave me your number. So I'm the one who's interested in the dancing and stuff. And he asked me, who have you worked with? I tell him Prosi Kankunda. She was a staple, a household name. She was like, oh, you've worked with Prosi. Good. So when can you show up? I'm like, I don't have transport, sir. Yeah, that is how broke I am. Because even the other 70,000, my mom would call me and say, Brack needs the money for school fees loan. And right now I don't have money. If you have anything, please send. And I hate to hear her, beg me. So I had sent it, all of it, and it was done. So I was completely broke. I would just, swindle a 500 here, 2,000 here, 1,000 from the hardware. And I had like 5,000 on me. So I tell him, I don't have anything. By then transport was 15,000. This guy sent me 25,000. He's like, okay, you come around tomorrow or the other day. I was like, okay, fine. So I go home, tell Didas, see, I'm going to Kampala, I've gotten a job. He's like, are you sure? You got a job? Yeah. Okay, me, I was just keeping you around. Thank you so much for helping me around. Do you have transport? I said, yes. I think Didas gave me about 5,000, if I remember very well. So I come to Kampala again, and I enroll in the dancing troupe, Rocky's, cultural troupe in Mutumbwe. Man, we were training. I'd never seen such training. We would wake up so early in the morning. It was like a boarding school, because the troupe, I think, was taking care of some of the students, the kids that were dancing in the troupe, taking care of them. Some of them are orphans, some of them are just there. They shelter them, they feed them. So it was like a school, kind of. And we would dance in the sand. We would dance from around 7 a.m. to around midday. One dance, the Abasoga dance, that one, I think I will never, learn it, because every time I remember it or see someone dancing it, trauma. We danced, my souls were off, and everything was just not working out. And to make matters worse, we were not paid. There was no money. We would get like tips of $100 from maybe some of these functions. They would give money to the, the company or the troupe, and of course it would go into taking care of the troupe, running the business, and we were just never given hard cash. So this one time they tip us, I think it was $200, and they shared the money, and I got 15,000 because we are the young ones. The people who are not doing anything, the other upper class was getting like 40 or 50,000. So for us, we got 15,000. I sent it to my mom because now I have a job. So every time we'd get like a tip of 10,000, 5,000, I would just drop it on, and I'm like, hey, this is what I was able to give you. They haven't paid us, but this is some allowance. I was lying because I didn't want her to feel like now I'm actually becoming an idiot who is, instead of chasing her career or passion, profession, is into now things of dancing and making a living out of being a dancer in Kampala, just because she doesn't want to stay home. But I could not sit around until an opportunity for nursing comes. While I was working at the hardware, it still wasn't something that I loved. So while at this troupe, I go to a clinic because I'm a nurse, and these kids fall sick, so I'm, tasked to take them to the clinic. And when I did, I talked to the doctor, oh, by the way, I'm a trained nurse, you can give me a job here. Whenever we're not dancing, I can just come and be working around and earn some money. The loan was here. He was joking. So this doctor says, no, My brother has a clinic in Zanta, Ndeje. If you're willing to go there, they pay 150 a month and 5,000 per day. That is 300,000. That is good. It's better than, sitting around where your feet off, dancing for nothing. So I'm going to let go of this dream of being a dancer and joining in Ndere troupe and going to China and the USA and performing my cultural dances that I really, really love so much. Because even if you put it right now, I'm going to dance and die later. So I go back, I knelt in front of Papa and told him, Papa, look, I know you had trust in me. You gave me this opportunity, but my mom is drowning in debt. I need to be able to move swiftly, to be able to catch her at some point, to be able to come through for her. I don't know if the troupe is going to be able to pay us or something, but there's an opportunity for me to become a nurse and 150,000 a month. Please allow me the grace to go on. Thank you so much for, giving me this opportunity, but let us pass it on. Papa was so disappointed. He was like, Rita, 2 weeks on this training, you haven't even gotten one of Eastern dances properly. You had started becoming a better person, a better dancer, and now you want to go. Why? Why are you doing this to me? I was like, Papa, my mom comes first. The situation at home is bad. It's not I can let them take her house, the house she built from scratch, from her sweat after she had been, cast out of the other house. There's no I can let her, go through this drain. So Papa was like, okay, if that is what you've thought about and you have agreed, I have no problem, you have my blessing, then you pass. So I go home, tell my mom, who have now, gotten a real job, because this job is giving me a small house where to sleep and I need stuff to use. So I'm taking my school mattress and the small bed cover that I was using and my small bag with a few clothes. So I come to Zanta, into my house with my small mattress, like this small, put it on the floor. It was a cemented floor. The door never covered the downer part. So when I was sleeping, I would be sitting down. Then later on, of course, I managed to secure some clothes and then I would put them down and block the wind, the coldness that used to come in at around 3. That house, there was a family living in the front part because it was a shop in Zanta, and these guys were violent. They would fight almost every night. So I had no smartphone. I was just in there every 10 p.m. until morning, and it was, I know one thing about me is every time I'm in a situation, I look at the bright side. I'm like, so after this, I'm going to be able to stand in front of people and tell them, see, this is how far the Lord has brought me. I'm one of those people who stand in the mirror and I usually put on shoes. I have shoes that have grown old from me just wearing them in front of the mirror. And I'm just going to give a TED talk to imaginary people, an imaginary audience, and that one thing has helped me sometimes stay sane. Because I feel like if I am not going to be able to pull through this, then this audience, what if it's real? What will I tell it? These things I'm telling them how the Lord has helped me come up to this, from this small dip to this one now, elevated me from here to here. How will I be able to tell if the audience is real? So usually I just find my way up. So now I work at this clinic from around June, July there up to December. So when I go to the village, my madam was a bit rude. She didn't want me to go, and as if she was ungrateful, and I hate ungrateful people at all costs. So I was like, okay, you don't want me to go to Christmas. You want me to go and then come back. When I've been here for all this time, I've never stolen you. I have kept your pharmacy, your clinic when you're not even here. I'm doing almost everything. You didn't even give me a Christmas, anything. And you treat nothing. I'm using everything mine to go, and then you want me back here on the 27th after I left on the 24th? It's not possible. Because growing up, Christmas was like this time that you have with family and you guys celebrate and eat all this much meat that you never had in the year. So there's no content me to come back on 27th. No, it's not possible. So when I came back on I think it was 29th, she was mad. I sat at the clinic, and that time, my friend posted something on his status. He was like, by then I'd secured a phone, a small Nokia X something. It didn't have a front camera, it was a green phone. Box had bought it 120, which my then boyfriend lied to me that he had bought for 150, and he was going to now add for me 30,000. Kumbe he was lying. So he had lied to me that the phone was 150,000. So I collected my salary and gave him 120, and then he bought it for me. He later on told me that he wasn't making a lot of money, so even that 30,000 was a dream. But he had secured the deal for me, you know. He got this guy who was in crisis, and he was like, okay, I have a buyer for your phone if you're selling it at this much. And yeah, so I had a smartphone. And while on Cam's status, I saw he needed a nurse to work in a pharmacy in Kampala. But now, in Kampala, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in Kampala. And if I leave this clinic, I cannot be able to stay in the house that I was staying in. But while at the clinic, I had secured a job for an OB who was working just next, like below us. So I tell my then boyfriend, I am going to go to Kampala and, you know, do an interview, but I do not know where to start. He's like, you know, I stay at my uncle's, so good luck. So that time, he gets a deal. It was $200, 2 notes of $200. You know, these guys who have been Kuyiriba on the streets, NASA everywhere, that's my man. So he gets this deal, and his uncle was shifting the next year, because this is almost 2 days to the end of the year, he's shifting to a far place. So my boyfriend is like, I cannot be able to juggle my life, staying in a far place, that side of Entebbe, so I need a place. So he gets a place in Makindye, rents it out, puts in a bed, and goes and brings his funny things. He didn't even have a blanket, that boy. So when he gets this house, I come from the village again. No, I was at the clinic. I go to Z Pharmacy on Kampala Road, do the interview. For some reason, they hired me, and I am supposed to start working next month, which is January, which is 2 days ahead. And I'm supposed to start working on Kampala Road. But now I'm homeless, because if I quit at my clinic job, this one is paying me $250, this one was paying me $150, so of course the other one was a winner deal. So I move my things from the house of the clinic. I tell Madam, Msawo, I am, you know, quitting, I've gotten a better opportunity, and as usual, me, I'm always looking for greener pastures. Yeah, you're not going to tie me in one place because society or something. So I asked Israel, can I keep my things in your place, in your house? He's like, okay, it's a small room, but I don't know if they will fit. Because when I asked my boyfriend, can I keep my things at your house? For him, he felt like this is responsibility now. He barely made 5,000 a day. He would just go out and, you know, hustle his life out. And he's a believer that maybe at the end of these 3 months that I've paid here rent, I'll be able to have made money. And now there's this one here, this homeless girl who is asking to stay with him. My boyfriend was like, no, if you want somewhere to sleep, you can come and sleep here. But me moving in with you, nope, I'm not going to do that. I was like, see, I don't want to move in with you. The Z job is guaranteed. They are not like these guys who are not paying me a full amount. The moment they give me my money at Z, I'm going to go and look for a house. Remember, it's 250. I'm going to go and look for a house, and I'll leave your house. It's not like I want to get married right now. I'm just, you know, 22. Don't get overexcited and into your head that I now love you so bad. So all I want is a place to, you know, stay. So this guy finally gives in. He's like, okay, cool. You know, I can't abandon you on the streets, but don't get comfortable. This is not your house. Okay. By then, it wasn't tough. Like right now, when I look back at it, it was a red flag. I'm just giving myself to you and you refuse. Are you mad? You know how good food I cook. Anyways, I go to Z. I start living in Makindye. Barely anything on me. So I tell my mom, go get me a loan. I'm tired of this guy stressing me out. I need to get a house of myself and, you know, start staying together. So get me 200,000. I go and look for a house. My mom gets me the money. It was on the 22nd of January. And I start, you know, house hunting and stuff like that. I get a house downtown Kevina, Muwakongeyo. You guys, I don't know what those guys used to pour in that stream that was taking the rubbish. But somehow we are near the road and all these things used to come and log there. So it was a hassle also staying there. I was paying 110,000 in front, because it was also a shop. In front there was a guy, a Motoro guy doing shoes. So you know when you're doing shoes, there's this dust that comes off, and that dust used to come over to my bedroom. So every time I would be suffocated the whole time. But anyways, I got to the house and we went there and painted it. And yeah, lived life. But before I had bought a kasigiri, I didn't want this guy now to start thinking that me, I'm there to eat his money, which he did not have. He was also struggling, and I still have that sigiri. I told him never to lose it or break it, because that was a time I realized that I can actually make food. Sometimes he jokes about it. He's like, the only reason he stayed in my house then when I was, this broke, this naive, is because every time I came home, I was assured there's a hot meal, I was assured there's proper made food, and I was assured you don't want anything to do with me. You are just about your business, and you could even use your money to buy food. I didn't have to suffer with food. I would go to town and be hungry my day, and in the evening, I would have something to eat. I was like, so that's the only thing that made me, stay in this your house. Food. So I moved into my house, and I would walk from Kevin, because remember now I have to pay back the other loan. I don't have the luxury of taking a taxi or a boarder from Kevin to Kampala Road to work at Z. So I would get up early in the morning with 500. There was a Congolese woman who was selling cassava in front of us, and I would buy cassava for 500 into my bag. And I didn't have a bag. I had a leather jacket. I had bought second hand, a jacket, and then I would put the cassava in my jacket, and I would pocket and walk to work at the pharmacy on Kampala Road. I had to beat time that I had to be there by 8 a.m. So I did that for a long time, and then when I was in town, my friend came to me and told me that he was stuck. He was looking for a job, and he's really stuck. But now my boyfriend had started stabilizing. So I'm like, see, me, I'm a kind of person. Whether it's necessary or it's not necessary. I have a house. I can give it to you. You'll be staying in until you get your shit together and get out. Then I'll be sleeping at the other guy's place. So I talked to my boyfriend. He accepts, and I give this guy the house. He was an OB who had the same story as me. He was living with his stepmom who didn't like him, and everything wasn't just making sense. So whenever I listened to his story, I was like, he shouldn't be going through that. So it's okay. He can just come and be here. Okay, his story is the reason I gave him the thing. Because if someone had done that for me when I needed it, then why can't I do it for someone? So that's why I gave Richard the house, and then also my brother came through. So there were two in the house. I had already bought a bed. That was around June. I'd already saved up and paid for a 250 bed in the 5 months. And so I moved back to my boyfriend's in Makindye. We take the border together, 1515 each. Yeah, so basically we were just surviving. And so in August, a person comes to my pharmacy, the pharmacy I was working in, and tells me about this golden opportunity, and I see completely I'm going to be able to build for my mom a house. I'm going to be able to change her life and be the dream daughter that she had, brought up and everything. So they call us to Grand Imperial Hotel, and the dream was real. We saw these guys who were talking about their life in AIM Global, and everything was perfect. We walked home with all this money in our pockets. Okay, in our minds, but not yet in our pockets. It seemed so real that when I got back to work, I told my boss, I am quitting because I had a golden opportunity somewhere. I called my mom, told her the deal, and told her I needed 640,000. My mom borrowed 500,000 and sent it to me. Okay, I paid it back because I had the money. Later on, when the guys paid me, I gave her the money. So I pay 500,000, my upline tops up the 140,000, I join AIM Global. Boom, I'm going to become a millionaire. I quit my job at Z World, Z Pharmacy, Z World, Z Pharmacy, and I go and start building my business, my empire at AIM Global in Wandegea. It is very hard for me to already walk from Kevin to Kampala Road. Now I've added on distance from Kampala Road to Wandegea. So my boyfriend says, me, I don't have this kind of money, but for you, you are very hardworking. You first do it, let us see how it works, then I will come and also join you. Okay, AIM Global is not a scam. That's a disclaimer. It's not a scam. It's a real business. Just that its mode of doing business is something that they do not explain to the layman to understand that it's not something you just come in and make money and go away. There is work to do. So we go here and we are these people telling people, you see, you just bring 2 people, 100. Bring 2 people, 100. Do this, you're going to the Philippines, you're going here, and everything is just fine. But you 100,000, you don't even look like 20,000. Your ashy would walk. I had recruited that guy who was making shoes in front of my house. We would walk from there to the other side. Then they would, ask us to be there every day at a particular time. It was hassle. You people, we walked. We walked that Wandega Street, the Bombo Road. I would walk from there, go down to Chibuye on foot. I had 1,000, and then buy popcorn for 300, and then use the 700 for the taxi from Chibuye to the place where we used to stay. Was it Chuke? I used to call there what? Luwafu. They used to charge us 700,000. So 700 shillings. Nusuru samvu. So the 300 I would buy popcorn because I would be hungry, and then go home and book some of the things that were around. I worked AIM Global from August up to April. I was depressed. Money was not coming. I had recruited people in my family. Everything wasn't just working. We had gone to Kenya, business wasn't moving. And we are just here stuck, depressed. So I asked one of my uplines, man, you're making 1.5 million a week. Can I stay at your house for a little while as I catch up, because I'm no longer able to come to this place every day? She's like, okay, fine, you come, we'll figure out life. Because also you're down and quitting leads to a little bit of your downfall. So I think she allows me, and we go there, and man, both of us, me who doesn't earn anything and earning 1.5 million, we were all looking at ourselves, waiting for the taxi for 500. We'd say, oh, what will you cook today? What should we cook today? We keep on asking what we are going to cook today, but you know very well I don't have money. What you're going to cook today until it's like 1 a.m. And then, since I was even, then my period came in that time, and my moods were off, completely off. I even went on antidepressants. I went to the pharmacy and asked for antidepressants. I was so mad. Then I remember, before I quit Z, there's this Indian guy who had come to the pharmacy and asked, because he had a short expiry medicine that I was able to sell off the shelf in a space of 2 weeks, and everything was, consumed and done. He was like, you're really good with your words. You're really good at marketing. If you ever want an opportunity to market, please don't hesitate to call me. Here's my number. So I'm like, okay. So in April, when everything at AIM Global is not working, I am pale, my shoes are old, my boyfriend cannot support me anymore. He's also tired of me going to work and coming home with, nothing, and he has to give me 4,000 for transport the next day. He also is barely surviving on Nasser Road. He was just frustrated at the same time. So the depression kicks in, and I'm like, no, let me call this guy. So I didn't call him. I just went straight to Nakawa, the Abacus warehouse. I told the receptionist, I'm here to meet Mr. Prashant. And she asked me, do you have an appointment? No. The way I'm looking, I don't even need an appointment. The gatekeeper was a woman, a Michigan woman. So usually when I walk into a place, the first people I make friends with are the people out there, the cleaners, the gatekeepers. So she was like, no, you let her, wait here. Prashant is about to reach here. So Prashant comes, and I explain to him, see, I'm the girl who was doing this and this, and she's like, oh yeah, you are the one. So there's an opening in Arua and in Mbarara. Where do you want to go? I say Mbarara, man. Mbarara. I cannot go to Arua. See me right now, I'm already starving. I can't go in a foreign land. So he's like, okay, you're starting 17th. So I go home. I didn't go back the other side. I even left there my things. I go home, tell my boyfriend I've gotten a job. I'm going to Mbarara. He's like, oh, really? Yeah. At some point, I feel like he was relieved, but easy. So I go to Mbarara and I become a medical rep. No money, of course. I start staying with my aunt. I was staying at theirs, and they used to lock the house and go to work. And so every time I was done with my work around 4, I would go in Independence Park and sleep. because I think we used to sleep a little bit late. So I never had enough. And after work, I wanted to go back home, but there was no home to go to. So I would go to Independence Park and sleep. There's a park that is now a market. Those were the days they started making it a market, and I was mad. You cannot just come to my favorite spot of sleeping, and before you start putting there a market that you smile, you want to build a better one. Who asked for a better one? We were good that way. But anyways, government is government. So after 3 months, I was like, no, I don't think I can be here anymore. I need some bit of independence and, have something to say to my own. I need to be able to choose what food I eat. I don't need to be kukugusa and eating in town, because when I go back home, the food, is not enough, something like that. So I moved into my own house. I was paying 110 again. I wanted to live in Nakumatt. I wanted to, live there because the dream had already grown. The picture was big. I was like, okay, there's a branch of M Global here, I will be able to work. So the picture was big, but reality was not just giving. So I moved into my house, and one day my friend Michael comes to me and he's like, Rita, there's an opportunity. Miss Tourism Ankole is, taking in girls, and I think you can do well. I think you can do better. So I tell Michael, I don't think so, because I'm not a small person. I've always been a heavy person, and I'm not about to kill myself trying to fit in the world of Queens. But it was my dream at some point. There's a time they crowned, I think it was Dora, and I was like, I one day want to be Miss something, or Miss Uganda or something. And every time I used to tell my mom, they would be like, no, Miss Uganda's never have scars. I have a scar on my leg. So it'd be like, no, forget about it. So when Michael told me about Miss Tourism, I was like, okay, let's give it a try. He takes me there. I think I'm a 5'5". They want 5'7". 5'5", 5'6". They want 5'7". So I don't even qualify in the first place, but the girls were not there. That is God working for me. So as usual, chap, the pageant happens, and I happen to be the first runner-up. Anita takes the crown, and Debbie comes second. And we are a group now that is going to Kampala to a boot camp. This is about July. Yeah, July. So September we come to Kampala, and now I'm queen. I'm almost letting go of my other job, the one that I've already gotten as a medical rep in Mbarara for a Janta farmer. I'm letting it go. Going to pursue my dream as a beauty queen. So we come to Kampala, and of course there are eliminations, but somehow God said, no, you are going to step in Serena. So before I went back, me and Rita used to walk around Serena and walk to Garden City, as we are getting used to good things. And I do not know why my curiosity never let me, reach at least Serena and say, you guys, can I just enter the hotel and see? So I think it was always a dream for me to be in the famous Serena, and I think God was saying, no, you're going to go there, don't worry. So we got boot camp. I wasn't eliminated on day one. The second elimination, I wasn't eliminated. We trained, and I'm in top 12. So finally, I'm in the Serena. I slept in the Serena. Not like in the bed, but like we were in the Serena for the night. For the event, we were seated in the floors of the Serena, and yeah, my village knew about it. We were on TV, and everything was just fine. I was living the dream. Reality was about to set again, and I was going to be back, jobless, back to zero, with a title that expects you to be something that you have to be. But one thing about me is I don't elevate to a level I have not yet reached. So I get crowned Miss Congeniality, most lovable, most caring person, because I was even, welfare in boot camp, like things to do with food. You're arranging for the queens. What are they going to eat now? Who's going to drink what? How much do we need? Like that. So I'm always a hands-on person, and yeah, somehow I get the title, and in front of the Serena, all four, I get a chance to walk out of the top 12 and go in front just as the Miss Congeniality. That to me meant the world. I was not there to win the title of, Miss Tourism Uganda, because even after winning, what I was going to do? Was I going to even be able to afford anything that happens? But anyways, that filled my heart, and I felt like now I can actually do anything. If I'm able to come from wherever I've been, and now I'm on TV, like some people can even recognize me back home, and they're like, you're the queen. queen, you're the Miss Tourism, I'll call you something. And then, yeah, I'm the one. So I had to go back to Ankole and, take on my roles as a queen. I go back to our cluster head. I'm like, see now, you see I'm here, I'm jobless and stuff. He's like, no, we have an office. You can go and be working there and you'll be sleeping at the hotel. But the hotel is far. They don't provide transport. They don't give you meals. So basically, you're just going to wake up in the morning and move from Ruharo to Mbarara town, work and move again back home. Back to the hotel and sleep and maybe get a meal at the restaurant, which was not going to be for a long time because it's a business. So I figured and asked my manager, my then manager, Jackie, and told her my situation, and Jackie was like, no problem, come and stay at my house. Very generous. So I go and stay at Jackie's house. We are living, and one day, someone talks to me and randomly sends me money. Apparently they had liked me, and they sent me money, and I was like, oh wow. I go straight and rent a house. Call my friends, now you guys come, we are going to, bring our dreams to life, we're going to start our charity. But who is giving charity? The very people who need charity. Us. But anyways, just because you're doing something you love, you really love, I hate to see people suffering. But nowadays, I learned to tone it a little bit down. Like, not for showbiz. If I can help, I will. If I cannot help, I will not help because I have to show that I'm doing this. So yeah, I lived there up to around April. I quit the job at the office because it was just draining. And in that time, I learned how to do makeup. From boot camp, they were doing makeup on us. So every time Diana would be working, I would be keen enough to see what she's doing. So when I went back to Mbarara, I noticed there were not a lot of makeup artists and stuff like that. So I started doing makeup on people for 5,000, for 10,000, just to survive. So around April, around Jan, this woman sees me with my drawn eyebrow, and she's like, "Who drew your eyebrow?" I was like, "It's me." She's like, "Oh, you're a makeup artist." I'm just trying to, She's like, "No, I'm a makeup artist, and I'm looking for people to work with. So if you don't mind, you can come and work together." So that's how I started working with Kathy on makeup. We'd go and work on functions, bagole, stuff like that. It was also short-lived because I do not like people who think that you're probably as useless as, okay, you may be useless, but like, try to feel like I'm also human. But that was not there for some time. And I was like, you know what? I even don't like makeup anymore now because the pressure from the brides, now the people we're working with don't even want to pay, don't even consider you human, and that was disturbing to me. But in the meantime, makeup was sustaining me. So in April, I call this Indian guy again and tell him, yo, by the way, now I'm a queen. Me, I'm a very known person right now as you see me here. I will be able to move your drugs with so much ease. I was like, oh yeah, you were good. By the time you were there, the sales were moving. So thank God you called me again. So let's start from where we stopped. In April, I get back my job as a sales rep for the Western part. And I start working and start building at home. That was the time we were moving, finished my mom's house and was in all these debts. We were moving situation in my father's place became so hard that we could barely survive. So hard that we could barely even do anything. Thieves would come, drill a hole in the house, try killing someone, and they fail, of course. Then, okay, drill the wrong place. Then there's a time thunder streak in broad daylight, and everything was just confusing. And then you have this person jeering on there that you're going to get tired. I'm going to get you one day. So we're like, no, let's sell this place and go and get a better place where we can find peace. So that was the time we sold the place, our father's land, and moved to a different place and started from scratch. That was 2018. Built the house. My mom, of course, didn't have a proper job, so it was me who was always in the loans, and the fact that I was earning a little bit of some money that I was not using. I was making about 1.2 million. My rent was 150. I'm going to go in the bar and drink the money. So I was able to put it there, and the loan would cut my salary whenever it comes. So one time, I've always wanted to work on TV. Yeah, I don't know if someone ever noticed, but there was a TV. When it started, I was like, wow, there's a TV here that we can actually access. I wish I could be able to work there. But of course, I'm not qualified. I'm not a journalist or anything. But there's this guy who keeps on telling me, Yedidia keeps on telling me, Rita, I see Atina Fierce in you. If you do a demo and bring it to TV West, they will be able to give you a position. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to, this is a small town. I'm going to bash these artists of this town who are completely, nuts. And it's not going to be good for me. I'm not yet at that level where I feel protected enough for me to just go and, take on Atina Fierce role. So I don't think that is a better idea, but I can do cooking. I can do a cooking show. I was like, a cooking show already has someone, but I don't know. I do not know. But anyways, we stay around. We are friends. We go to the gym together because I had a free pass at Lakeview and would meet there often and talk about stuff to do with my TV dream. So one day he tells me TV has opened up. There's a position. One of our staff is going on leave, and who knows? You could take it up. You need to apply. I was like, oh, really? So I go home and start watching TV was to know the lineup. I see everything, so I go and apply, and somehow, as God would do it, my dream comes true. I am hired as a TV presenter, and I started working on the 24th of December, 2018. Yeah? So with this job, the festive season, and the other job, I'm torn between practicing for my dream job, which is TV, or continuing to serve my Indian boss, who I've played on the head, by the way, for a long time. I quit again for Queen, now I'm going to quit for TV. So in that period, I didn't even notice anything. But when Christmas was done, and in January there, my dream was to get married in that year and probably have a child. But of course, my boyfriend was not in position to afford any of those, though he wanted it, but he wasn't in position. But as God would do, I got pregnant around the 15th of December before I actually knew about it. So from the pregnancy, my previous job was walking clinic to clinic, pharmacy to pharmacy, hospital to hospital, meeting doctors and talking, which was draining because you can't be on the border here and there. They give you allowance of 15,000. You can't use all of that money on border. You have to walk. So you would walk to Red Corner, come back to Ntare, come back to the other side. It was tiring. Now I'm pregnant, and God gives me this opportunity to work on TV as a presenter for only 2 hours. So I'm only being there from 7 to 8. So it's like God is aligning things for me. I am pregnant now. I'm doing my very not paying dream job. Not something I'd expected. But yeah, it is something I would love to do. And it's covering up for me. First time mom, first time pregnancy. I've never been pregnant in my whole life. I don't know how it feels. But now I have all the time. So I would go to work and come back and, sleep the whole day, which was not going to be able if I was still at my Indian job, the marketing job. So I feel like also God came through for me at that time. I do the job until I was 9 months, because I remember I went on leave like on the 31st of August, and I gave birth on the 8th of September. So 1 week in there and the depression starts. Postpartum depression kicks in and everything is not just working. I remember telling my husband that now, in that time, we did Kuchala and Kuhinjira. When I found out I was pregnant, I was like, no, this has never happened in my house, in my family. I am the only person supposed to break this generation or whatever. I'm going to be the first Kuhinjira, the first girl in my house, in my lineage ever since I arrived here in 1994, to be given away officially. So you're not going to deprive me of that. We are going to do it. This guy is broke, AF. He's like, okay, I'm going to see something. And I asked him, how much can you be able to pay? He's like, maybe 8 million. So when I reach home, they tell me they need about 18 million to finish the house. And I was like, no, my man only can afford 8 million, 7 million, at maximum 8. So if you're taking that, we take it. Because it's me going to the marriage. If I reach there and this guy is in debt, it's me going to suffer. You're going to take the 8 million, you're going to work with it for a small function, just give me away officially and finish the house wherever we can do, but don't refuse the 7 million, the 8 million, because you want 18. Because trust me, I'm going to go. I'm already pregnant for this guy. I'm going to go the other side. So my mom is a little bit, disappointed in me, and she's like, okay, fine. If this is what you have chosen, if this is what you want, good. We have no problem or no choice. but to allow you, do your thing. I don't know how my husband managed the two, but somehow he got all the money and gave it to us. We did the house, we did a party. If you have not watched the video of my traditional wedding, please go and watch it. It wasn't, of course, as flashy and lavish as nowadays, but it was something that I dreamed of, and I knew I pulled it off, and I had made history and had broken a generational curse. So we go into our marriage and stuff was happening. So I tell him I want to start selling food because I'm really good in the kitchen. And he's like, no, that is so hard with a child and stuff like that. So when that plan is cancelled, I get a promotion at work. Very random. I actually thank the person who put my name on that list, if ever they ever did. Thank you so much. He gave me an opportunity that right now I'm able to sit and do my own content from the experience I learned from being a TV presenter at TV West. So time kept on going, and I was working perfectly well in a long distance marriage. And one time, COVID, the last COVID lockdown, I am down, I'm pregnant with my second child, and a communication passes that they are laying off some stuff because, finances and stuff like that. But I've already started the Cooking Nurse. The Cooking Nurse is not monetized on YouTube, it's not making money. So I'm like, now, if TV West is not going to pay me the money I've been working for, there's no way you can, drop me from almost 1.3 million to 200,000. It's not possible. It's like, okay, why did you put me in a position you could not manage? Why? You didn't even ask me in the first place. Now you've already put me here. Now again put me down. It doesn't work like that now. We do not downgrade here. We rules don't pay. So when that communication came, it wasn't even official. A friend of mine is the one who sent me a screenshot of the mail of the people that were laid off. And I was like, oh, cool. So I think I quit. The dream job was short-lived, 2.5 years. And now I'm a stay-home mom. Almost to be mother of two, jobless. And my husband wasn't making so enough. But for some reason, God came through and he started making enough. He was paying our rent until January, and we were like, okay, now my child is grown enough, we can go to Kampala and start life. I'd always wanted to do work in the kitchen, or maybe learn stuff about the kitchen. So a culinary arts course would work, but it's expensive. 1.5 million, rent at home, his stuff to do with the house and his home, his business and everything. It seemed so much for a person that I knew could not afford a lot of things. But I'm almost done with my first semester right now, and at 28, I know I've jumped a lot of things in my story that may be important, but as we grow, I hope that this helps you to understand who I am, to know that sometimes your helper is going to come at the most or the least expected time. And you need to be able to look out and say, this is what I stand for, and I'm not going to compromise for it, and tell God that this is what I want in detail, and have him work at his will, or how he wills it, not how you want it to be. So I've been here on social media. One of the things I asked for this year was my YouTube start making enough money. It's starting to pick up now, not like before. We are no longer making 2 cents a day. For my socials to grow, I've seen a breakthrough from March up to now. We have grown from 2,000 followers to over 33,000 followers on Instagram. You know what that means? The numbers are going to convert to YouTube, and the YouTube is going to start making money, and the word is going to get out. And not promoted, nothing. It came at a time when Instagram was trying to, compete with TikTok, and somehow it started favoring us, the less fortunate, who could not afford to pay for ads, who could not afford to take influencers on dinners and have mentions going here and there, who could not afford to pay influencers to mention us somewhere, who could not do that. So sometimes a situation is going to happen, but God always has a way of pulling you out and making you stand out. And every time I listen to this babe on Instagram, Pretty Brainy Wife Joy, there's a way she talks about things, and I'm like, this is God. It's been God. There is no way I could have, pulled myself from here to here if it wasn't for God. There's no this person would have helped me randomly if it wasn't for God. Because trust me, Trust me, even right now, I could never call my mom and I'm like, Mom, can you give me like 500,000? She doesn't have it. I could never call anyone. The only person I have is like my husband. And the fact that he has been able to provide for him, to give us a comfortable life and everything that we need in this time when we thought we would be probably selling some gonja on the streets just to survive. And we are just building this dream to where we want it. I just hope that one day I'm able to stand out, and when you look at me, you see God's work. When you look at me, you know that God can actually handpick someone and bless them without conditions, and it's possible because I'm living truth that God works, and when He chooses you, He blesses you. No one can tamper with your anointing, and you shouldn't either. You know, you have to believe in yourself. You have to keep going, because that is what the least you're expected to do. Keep going and keep chasing your dream. Your eyes on the prize, and just keep on pushing. Just one day like this, and we'll be giving a toast to a life well lived. This is 28, and I can't wait for the rest of my life, and how many other stories I'm going to share with you, how many other breakthroughs, how many other deals we are going to sign, how many other dreams and billboards we are going to appear on, because I know it's going to come true, and that's a promise He made to me, and He's going to fulfill it when the time is perfect. Thank you so much for following through. If I've inspired you or my story has inspired you to always go for what you want, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let's get personal on my socials. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for being part of my, my world, the people I've grown up with, and everyone who has helped me together and pulled everything together. We are just hoping that life continues being amazing and everyone receives what they deserve in the time that it's supposed to come. I'm Rita, and I'm the cooking nurse, and I hope you stick around to see how the journey unfolds. Peace.